Hi Emily, this is Mike from Stagecoach Road Vintage Sewing Machine, and this is your great aunt's Singer 99, fresh off the restoration bench, and she's running and sewing just great. This is the final test before I pack her up to ship her out to you, and in this test we're going to go over the basics of how to wind the bobbin and thread the machine, and how to work the controls. And if you've come here from somewhere else on the internet and found this video, as I said, we are Stagecoach Road Vintage Sewing Machine, and we've been restoring awesome sewing machines for 25 years, and we're pretty good at it. You can find us on the web at stagecoachroadsewing.com, but we'll go over that at the end of the video. Sorry to say that this machine is spoken for, but we have a lot of beautiful machines that you can choose from. But back to the machine. You'll find your bobbin under the slide plate, and there's a little button you can push, a little chrome button, makes your bobbin pop up. Makes it easy to get it out. No bobbin case on this one. It just drops right into the race there under the slide plate. And your bobbin winder is over here. Let's see. How about some nice purple for the bottom thread? Put your thread on the spool pin. Go into the first thread guide here at the top, directly in between the two convex plates of the tension assembly, all the way back around to the top, and you'll want to pick up this little thin check spring at the top here. After you pick up the check spring, go through your take-up lever from right to left. Into this thread guide on the plate, on the face plate. Down through the thread guide on the needle clamp, and then through your needle from left to right. Some of the vintage singers thread the opposite direction through the needle, like the featherweight and the 201. This one threads like a normal sewing machine. That was a joke. There's all sorts of sewing machines. I always cut a nice clean end on the thread, which makes it a whole lot easier to get through the eye of the needle. The day I did it again. We're not threading the machine yet, we're winding a bobbin first. Okay, here we go. Let's start over. Put your spool on the spool pin, go into the upper thread guide, down and into this guide slash tensioner, kind of S-shaped. You go into it twice, then right up to your bobbin. And your bobbin has a little hole in the side. You can poke your thread through from the inside to the out. And hold that little tail and give the thread several wraps around the bobbin, just to hold the thread in place as you start winding. Then you want your bobbin to go onto the bobbin winder with the thread going over the top, from the front of the machine towards the back of the machine. And I'm going to cut off that little tail that we left sticking out of the hole, just for tidiness sake. double check that your thread hasn't become wrapped around something that it shouldn't be. I'm going to take up the slack here. Declutch your machine by turning the chrome knob in the center of the hand wheel quarter of a turn towards you until it hits the stop. Then your wheel can spin without making the rest of the machine cycle. And push down on your bobbin winder. The little release finger will drop in to your bobbin. And as your bobbin fills, as it gets closer and closer to the edge, it'll push that release finger out, and your bobbin winder will pop up and it'll stop winding, so you don't get a overfilled bobbin and tangle the thread everywhere. So go gentle on your foot control. Don't need to go fast. More chance of tangling if you go fast. That should be plenty for our test. Click that little release finger and your bobbin pops up. Take your bobbin off, recollect your machine by tightening the knob in the center of the hand wheel. And you're going to want your thread to come off the top of your bobbin in this direction. It's important. So drop your bobbin in there, and there's a little notch here in the side of your bobbin race. Pull the thread into that notch until it sort of clicks into place, and you'll feel a little bit of drag on your thread. To thread the machine, just spool on the spool pin, go into the upper thread guide between the discs of the tension all the way around to the top.
I skipped a step. After you go around the tension assembly and pick up the check spring, you want to go down and to the left under the big thread guide before you go up to your take-up lever, okay?
Go through your take-up lever from right to left. Into the thread guide on the faceplate, into the thread guide on the needle clamp, and through the needle from left to right. How's our end look? End still looks clean. Yeah, nice clean end, goes in so easy. Hold your needle thread loosely. Turn the hand wheel towards you one full revolution. The needle will take the thread down where the hook will pick it up and wrap it around the bobbin and bring up your lower thread. Put your thread between the toes of the presser foot towards the back of the machine, and we're ready to sew. This is some duck fabric from a pair of Carhartt work overalls. So it's decently heavy fabric. Lower your presser foot by lowering the lever on the back there. Hold your threads and go gently onto your presser foot. Give it a little gas. The bobbin on this one is just a little bit noisy. There's nothing wrong. It's just, I think, the nature of this machine. It's a little bit rattly in there where the bobbin race and hook sit in there. You can hear that it's the bobbin itself that's making the noise. And I don't know any way to make that any quieter. I guess I could glue felt on the bobbin or something. No, that was a joke too. Can't do that. So anyway, this is your stitch length lever. from this line here at the top, well, it's not quite at the top, but you can see it's got a graduated scale going up, and this line at the top of your scale is the center line. And when your stitch length lever is in this position, the fabric doesn't move forward or backward. The needle goes up and down, but the fabric stays still. Going down from that line, your stitches get longer and longer and longer until your longest stitches are at the bottom. Above that line, going up, again, your stitches get longer and longer and longer, but in reverse. So we're going to put it down to about, right around 12 stitches per inch. Actually, this is kind of heavy fabric. Let's go for a little longer stitch. Let's do 10 stitches per inch. And off we go. Have no trouble at all sewing that heavy material. You'll be able to sew everything from baby clothes to upholstery with this machine. I think I mentioned that TR actually sewed a whole teepee cover on a little hand crank 99. This is your thread tension. If your thread looks loose and loopy on the bottom, you need a little bit more tension. If it's too tight and it's puckering up a little bit, you want a little less tension. Clockwise adds tension, counterclockwise releases tension. This little knob on top is the pressure on your fabric. This adjusts the pressure on the sewing foot. So again, heavier fabric, you turn it clockwise to add more pressure. For a more delicate fabric, you might want to loosen it just a little bit in the counterclockwise direction. That's about all of the controls on this machine. Those are all the controls. Again, longer stitches, shorter stitches, reverse, shorter reverse. Uh-oh, I did it. I let it go too long at the line where it doesn't go anywhere and built up a wad of thread on the bottom. You got to keep your fabric moving. If your feed dogs aren't moving the fabric, you need to move the fabric by hand, like for darning or machine embroidery, because it it builds up a knot of thread below the needle plate, and then the fabric can't move at all. You have to pull it out, cut off that wad. You're going to want to oil your machine. If you use it all day, every day, oil it every day or every couple days. If you use it a couple days a week, but all day, you want to oil it once a week or so. If you just bring it down to the closet every now and then to sew a special project, or just as a change from one of your other machines, and it hasn't been oiled in 3 months or so, oil it, because the oil does evaporate. And I guess that is it. It's a beautiful machine, works great. It's in really good condition. I think your great aunt must not have sewn very much on it, because it looks almost brand new. But we'll get her packed up and ready to send to you. And again, if you've come here from somewhere else, we are Stagecoach Road Vintage Sewing Machine. And we're on Stagecoach Road out here in the Coast Range of Oregon. So we are stagecoachroadsewing.com. And if you come out to the website, you will see hundreds, literally hundreds and hundreds of beautiful machines that we've restored over the decades. You'll see pictures from all different directions and a little bit of information about each one. And at the top of the page, there are usually a few that are available for sale that you can bring home to your own sewing room. So check it out again, stagecoachroadsewing.com, and we'll see you there.